Hey guys, just me and Frankers out for a walk today. It's kind of snowing and it's not too bad, but a little sad after having a few nice days there, but can't kid ourselves, it snows around here till May. So Myles has been hard at work on his Buick engine for his 59 Buick, and today I thought we'd present some footage that he was kind enough to take for us of his tearing down of his 401. We put a bit of that in earlier. And so here's the rest of the teardown, and Myles, of course, with his signature cylinder head tidy up job, he's going to clean up and port the heads on this thing. And so I thought if you haven't seen how that's done, we'll have a quick look. And just wanted to say thanks very much to Myles for filming all this for us. It's a lot of extra work on top of the actual work of putting the engine together. So hope you guys enjoy, and we'll see you guys on Saturday. Where are you going? I don't know where the menace went.
Okay, so we got number 4 out. Number 4 was really stiff, and it also has a seized top ring with significant wear on the ring itself. And it looks to be pretty dirty in what little gap there is on that ring. Perhaps water got in there, and this engine was stored for a while. I was told it was stored inside, but based on that bottom ring being so clean, I just find it hard to believe that the top rings wouldn't be the same. And the crank itself, like now I have no faith in this engine. The crank should spin over very freely. Just with the weight of the arm of my breaker bar, it should spin, but as you can see, there's a good amount of friction there. And I doubt that's just rear main seal. Like, hopefully you change the rear main seal. Looking closer at the timing chain cover, that's a rope seal in there. That does not appear to have been changed. Maybe there is no new rear main seal in there, but I don't like how much effort that takes to spin that over still. So I'm going to take out the rest of the mains, inspect them anyway. Okay, we got the last main out at the back. You can see that a rope seal was used. And I don't know, you guys can weigh in on this, but to me, that rope seal does not look any different than the one we found in the 364. To me, that does not look new and improved or even replaced, but even with everything out, this crank still does not spin very easily. Take a little oil, put it on the back where the seal rubs. Oh, that definitely eased things up a little bit right there. Maybe that seal was replaced. Yeah, anyway, I'm going to pull that thing out. Okay, I'm thinking it's good insurance to just go and spec every bearing. So I threw a little plastic gauge in there. Now hopefully I'm going to gently drop the crank in place and not disturb those. Torque them down and see what's going on. I doubt the crank is bent, so maybe it's all friction right here in the seal. I guess we'll see. I torqued all the mains down, working middle out. To final torque was 105 in 4 steps, 50, 75, 100, 105, because the torque specs are between 100 and 110, so let's hit the median. And now we're going to lift it out and see what kind of numbers we have. Okay, it's a little tighter than 002, but not as tight as 015. Pretty close to 0.2. I'd say a little tighter, but certainly not 0.5. Again, a little tighter than 0.2, but not as bad as 0.5. That's not that tight. Looks like we're pretty even right across the board. Okay, I fought with number 4 piston. The ring was completely seized inside there. Took one of my screwdrivers, shaved it down to a point, made it nice and skinny so I could get in between the 2 rings and start to work it backwards. Soaked it down with WD-40. Once I was able to pry the ring up, I got the WD-40 behind the ring, and with a little arm and hammer I managed to get it out of there without breaking it. So rings will clean up nicely and be able to be reused. Now I have to tackle number 8 that's still got a couple seized rings. Okay, second head disassembled. Similar story. We have a few ports that are really pretty decent inside, and then we get to this guy which is just trashed. That's surface rust all over that port. That's gonna have to get cleaned up before that can be put to use. We get the next one here, and it's got a little bit of carbon in there, dirt, and this guy is pretty clean. So yeah, we have another valve that's just trashed. This one might be able to be saved. Put it through the wire wheel, see what it looks like afterwards. Pretty rough overall though, not too great. And interesting that no valve seals were put back into the head when whoever played with it last did some work on it. So that's really surprising. I'd like to know why they didn't put valve seals back in. Now that we've got everything disassembled, I think we can go ahead and set up a table and get the grinder out, get to town on these things. Thought I'd show you the exhaust ports as well. Things are pretty clean in there. Coming across. Long exhaust ports on these 401 heads, or Buick heads. It's just odd. But pretty clean on the exhaust ports. That's why I think it was stored outside, and rain got in the intake and came down and did this. Doesn't that look nice in comparison to that or that? Okay, I built myself a bit of a cave here because I don't want the filings that I'm going to be porting out of here to be flying all over the room, getting on the Fury and engine parts and all that. Kind of draped rags over the rest, so hopefully I don't do too much damage. I'm going to start with this nasty intake port. I've kind of got lights set up behind and that, so I can see inside the port, give me an idea of what I'm doing. I'm going to go with this big carbide bit to get started, cleaning in and around all here. Got my trusty porting kit out. I'll switch over to some of these long guys with the smaller little bits that can get deep inside. So that's my plan. Let's get after it and see how it goes. Okay, we're getting back at it for another day. Yesterday I worked till, I don't know, like 10:30 or so. It was a long day. Grinding out cast iron does not happen quickly. But I've gone through and I've cleaned up everywhere that my bits can get in. There's some very tight areas around those valve supports, so I can't quite get in there to get 99% of everything, but You can see there's no hard edges anymore. Even with the exhaust here, it's nice smooth transition. In comparison, here you can see it's just pretty rough, so it's kind of a hard example, but there's a sharp edge right there that the air would be a pretty significant bump to try and get around. Same here, this first turn, there's a lot of material here that's going to change the direction of the air of the exhaust and slow down your exit. So I'm just taking this stuff out, cleaning it up, just to improve the efficiency a little bit. I mean, hour spent now is free power for the rest of the life of this engine. So I'll put the time in now to enjoy the power for the rest. These intake ports were really nice right out of the gate. They needed very, very little. All I did was go in and just kind of clean things up. There was a little bit of casting flash, but not bad. Not bad. The Mopars I've worked on were significantly worse than what I dealt with in these Buick heads. The only thing I'm wishing right now is that I had exhaust gaskets so I could do a gasket match on those ports, but unfortunately when I got the engine it was just taped. So I have to pick up some exhaust gaskets, and I might be able to open these ports up just a little bit. Every little bit counts. We'll get started beating these ones up next. See how it goes. I thought I would take a pause and just show you how things are going as we get through this. So I'm just using the short one at this time, doing a nice blend. As you can see, there's no bumps anymore. This was like a flat wall when I started, and it was very tight to the valve there. So I've put a curve into that and taken the bump out that was right here, so it'll have a straight shot into the chamber. Maybe I'm doing it wrong, maybe I don't know, but keep in mind I'm an enthusiast. I'm not a professionally trained engine porting, head porting guy, so I'm just having some fun here. But those are cleaned up. Again, this was a flat wall, so I put a curve into it, smoothed it all, took the bump out right before the ledge. And I thought I'd show you this guy before I get started on it. Look how nasty that is. That is extremely rusty. We're going to get in there and tear that open, clean all that up. Looks like we're going to have problems with that valve seating. So we'll have to do a little work there. Okay, I'm calling it for today. I think it's been about 3 hours or so grinding away here. You can see I've been able to reach inside and do pretty well on cleaning things up. There is a significant improvement here on the wall. It's kind of hard for you to see, but on these ports, there's on both sides, there's quite a bit of material that injects itself into the port, and I've gone through and carefully removed what I can, what I feel I safely can, and I hope I'm right. Because the air is being forced into the chamber, I'm taking this edge down just to take away any sort of intrusions that are going to cause turbulence. So I can't quite get down in there. I'm going to have to do that by hand just to finish that off. But this was the rusty port. Started out that way. Sounds like my winter beater, but this guy next, most likely. And I'll get in here on all these ports and just try to smooth those little edges down a little bit. Clean that up a little. Anyway, that'll be for next time. That's kind of it for tonight. So yeah, Buick heads coming along. Okay, I finished the blending on the bowls, and I went through and polished what I could reach with the different heads that I have. It's pretty easy to see how smooth that is. That looks really nice. Tried to smooth these as much as possible. Notice the top edge by the valve stem. It's like a knife edge now. It's like risk of cutting you. So there won't be any airflow slowed down or interrupted with that ledge that used to be there. And I'll worry about doing the seats later on when I'm out at Scott's. Okay, so we're going to flip this head around and attack either the exhaust or the intake port next. Okay, well, the exhaust ports are the easiest to access, so I thought I might show you a before pic in here. It's disconcerting to see paint inside the exhaust manifolds. Really, I tape these areas off before I paint, and if there's paint still in there, we either have some serious high heat paint on this motor, or this motor was not run after it was built. Scares me a little bit. Just thought I'd show you a bit of a comparison before I moved on to this last exhaust port. As you can see, there's kind of a down angle or dog leg or whatever that shortens things up over here. I'm taking that out on each one. Also, right the last, I don't know, quarter inch, there's a big edge right here. On all the sides, really. I'm going to go down and remove these edges like I have been. Here you can see that there's no edge here anymore. And I spent a little time just shaving that wall down. Not going crazy, but taking some of that material away to try to no longer have a tight spot right here. And this guy here, not as bad because the head bolt has moved outside of the port a little bit. But it's pretty narrow right here, and definitely right there. We're going to take all that out of there and maybe open up the inside of that turn way down inside there. They're so restrictive that it's definitely the Achilles heel of this head design. So whatever you can do in this area, I believe, is going to create big rewards over 3,000 RPM in that engine. So let's play some more and see how far we get. I've seen way worse casting flash than what I'm finding here. So there's really not as much work to do for me as I found in the past. You can see right here on the bottom, or this is actually the top of the head, some casting flash in there that causes turbulence in your port, slows down your exhaust flow. And over here I had the same thing, and now you can see that it's gone. So just clearing those kinds of things up, getting them out of there, straightening out the air where I can. Okay, I'm kind of finished up on the exhaust ports here, and I'll try to show to you, if I can, how things finished up. I've gone in there with the sanding tool right here. It's a smoother grit. Might not look like it, but it's pretty nice. If you could feel these, they are slippery smooth. And there's no problem with making your exhaust port extremely smooth, chrome-like smooth even, because you're just pushing exhaust gases out of them. You don't need a tumble effect or anything like that to improve your low-end torque like you do on the intake valve. So these look pretty nice. I don't know how they look on camera, but they feel great. There's no bumps in the way. You can see the casting flash that I pointed out earlier is gone. Just a nice smooth port now to get all that exhaust out of there. Next, we'll attack the intakes, but I think I'm going to take a little break because my back is killing me. How long have I been on this today? 5-6 hours maybe? We'll take a break.
Hey guys, thanks so much for checking that out, and thanks again to Myles for going out of his way to film all that for us. We've got, of course, a lot more Buick V8 action coming up on the weekend, and tearing into the Renault for what ended up being a complete paint job. There's just no way to avoid it. Oh, I'm trying to get ready for the weekend a very special return of classic darts with Al and Justin. So hope you guys are ready for some classic darts action, and we'll see everybody on Saturday. Cheers. a regular contributor.
Same old shit.